Good morning. I'm sitting here on a Sunday morning, March 7, 2020. And just a little bit of background about myself. I've been playing harmonica since I was a boy. I'm not a professional, but I have a lot of experience. And I just recently started to study jazz. And as a result, I increased my Chromatic harmonica collection, and I usually favor the 16 hole because I like the extra lower octave. But I also have 12 holes and 10 holes. So for most people, the cost of a good chromatic harmonica is quite prohibitive. I mean, we're talking about the high-end Honor, Seidel, Suzuki. They're excellent harmonicas, they're responsive, they have good tone, and they don't rattle too much. A common problem with chromatic harmonicas, with the breath savers, or I would call them just valves, they get sticky and they rattle, and a lot of times you just need to warm up the harmonica to prevent condensation. And sometimes you have to actually remove the plates and tweak the valves a little bit by running a piece of paper between the plate and the valve to clean them out. And sometimes you have to adjust the reeds if they don't respond well. You need to know what you're doing, so don't take a chance bending reeds, ending up breaking them. But the reason I'm here is to talk about the most cost-effective harmonica for those who are budget-minded, or those who just cannot afford an expensive harmonica. So three come to mind here. I have the Harmo harmonica, 16 hole. It looks nice, it's solid. Okay, those go for about $180, give or take. You might find one for $150. The next one I will talk about is Easttop, the Easttop harmonica. Also, it looks very nice. Classic Easttop, black covers, gold-plated round mouthpiece, alternating holes. And the last one, which is the cheapest one, is the Swan, the 1664 chromatic harmonica. The Swan. I guess you can see it better this way. Swan. The holes alternate top and bottom. They're not staggered like most other harmonicas, but really it makes no difference. The Swan. Price? About $68. Okay? Now I wish I knew about this one before I bought Easttop for $179, or the Angel 16 made by Harmo. So the harmonicas are cold. I did not warm them up. And we'll just try to go through the scales and see if we have any reed that's rattling. You hear a little rattle? Yeah, no big deal, it'll go away. After you blow into it a few times, it'll straighten out and go away in most cases. Like I said, it hasn't been warmed up either. A little stiff, okay? The A on hole number 3, inhale, bit stiff. Yeah, it's a bit hard to blow the tiny little reeds at the top. Overall, it's okay. Let's switch to the Easttop. Again, it's cold. I haven't warmed it up or anything. It's been used a few times. Let's listen to how it sounds. Little out of tune here, okay? The F is out of tune. And it's a little bit hard to blow. The low scale is not really responsive. A little rattle here. The upper notes are a little bit easier to blow as compared to the Harmo. So if you are to spend $180 or so, $150, perhaps the Easttop would be a better choice. But let's look at the cheapo, a full chromatic scale Swan harmonica. Except for the slide, which is a bit noisy and a bit stiff, and I may go into it and see if I can alleviate some of this. Most times you'll play the sound of the slide rattling and creaking will probably not be heard by yourself or those who are listening to you. And again, keep in mind that all the sharps are on one plate. They're not alternating, which is no big deal. Okay, here we go. It's a little bit hard on hole number 1 and 2 on the lower scale. Let's go and sharpen the notes. Yeah, on the sharp scale at the top, you will have to release the slide to get a scale, which is common in most, probably all chromatic harmonicas. You'll never run into problem with it. It's just that it's not as organized as all the lower 3 octaves at the top end. But as you can see out of the box, this harmonica, as cheap as it is better tuned and easier to play. So whatever Swan did with their breath savers and the composition of the reeds, for the price, it's a great value. So if you're looking for a budget harmonica, I highly recommend the Swan. Now, when you read reviews of all harmonicas, you'll find people who are not happy with the product, and that's normal. From time to time, you know, out of the factory, a product comes out with a problem, you know, and those who have some mechanical knowledge probably can get into the instrument and tweak a reed or two and work with the valves a little bit, give them a little more of a curve, cut them. Sometimes you have to cut the edges to reduce the surface that may cause them to stick when they get wet, especially with sugar residue. If you don't clean your mouth, you know, whatever you ate prior to playing, it gets in a mist and it attaches itself to the valves and they get sticky. So make sure you clean your mouth well. And so now the Swan is my travel harmonica because I do have an $800 Sadel and a high-end Suzuki that I play. and I love to play them. But when I'm on the road and I do a lot of travel, and I want to have a practice harmonica with me, I'll take the Swan with me. It doesn't even need to be warmed up. It plays right away. Not as clean, but quite responsive and well-tuned. Not 100%, but it's well-tuned. And you will be happy with it. And if something happens to it, like lost during a trip, or gets stepped on, or falls into the ocean, or gets a lot of dust in it, it's 68 bucks, $70, maybe $58, whatever deal you get. And keep the expensive harmonicas for your gig when you play with other people, or when you want to play an instrument that's enjoyable and well-tuned. So here's my advice: budget harmonica. Now, before I get off here, the Swan actually makes a nice 12-hole, and I don't know if it has valves in it. I'm not sure. I looked through the gap here, and I don't seem to be able to see valves or breath savers. If that's the case, one of these days I'll open it up, but it always plays. I've taken it to Spain. It's thrown in my car, collecting dust. I just tap it a few times, blow a few times, and it's ready to practice with. And that's what these are for. It's just for practice. And that harmonica, I think, was like 40 bucks, 12-hole. You can play it with one hand because it's about yay shorter. So all you get is a little harmonica. Now you can buy 10-hole. It's almost like a diatonic harmonica with a button. And I do have one of those. So I'm not recommending distracted driving, but imagine if you're driving and you just practice without reading notes, just practice like singing offhand. You can use one hand with it, but don't do it. Don't drive and play at the same time. So there you go. Make your decisions. And I hope you gain to benefit from my impromptu review here in the morning after the first cup of coffee. This is Mauny Muray, harmonica player, not a professional. Have a good day.